at home already.
Justin, congratulations. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, John.
Aaron, back to you.
All right, thank you, JP. Verlander off to a spectacular start with his new team. As we take a look now at Mike Scioscia's lineup for the second straight game, and just the 5th time this season. Cole Calhoun leading things off in front of Mike Trout, who leads the league in on base and slugging, leading the game in OPS. Upton, then Pujols, Brandon Phillips, who missed some time. Some of the recently with a sore back is at second base. Simmons, Valbuena, then C.J. Cron with 16 home runs, batting 8th. Juan Gratterall doing the catching. The regular Martin Maldonado is off with a local noontime start. Charlie Morton is up on the mound. AJ, and you mentioned it a few moments ago, the fastball, the curveball, that combination is filthy.
Charlie Morton has found velocity out of nowhere. Talking to AJ Hinch, he said, we don't know where he found it. He got a little bit more behind the ball. He's had some surgeries, but that shouldn't help his velocity. But whatever he's doing is working for him this year, and he's having the best year probably of his entire career.
Has missed a little bit of time this year, but in September he has not pitched particularly deep in games, but the strikeout numbers have been sensational. 24 strikeouts over 16 innings so far this month. He's pitching on 7 days rest here this afternoon. As we take a look now at the defense behind Charlie Morton, the guy who likes to keep the ball on the ground.
He does, and the defense is very important. The infield, especially with Bregman, Correa, Gonzalez, and White at first. Those are the guys that need to be active. Keep the ball out of the air for Charlie Morton, and if he continues to get ground balls, that's when he's most effective.
Here's Cole Calhoun, who has spent time over the course of his career with the Angels in the leadoff spot, but has not been there a whole lot this season. Mike Scioscia saying just trying to spark things a little bit, mix things up somewhat.
Well, he said Brandon Phillips did a really good job for him when he first came over from Atlanta. But with Cole Calhoun, it just brings a little different dynamics, a little more power, a little more 1-0 in the first inning instead of, hey, we got to get a couple hits. Calhoun can drive one out of the park to start the game.
Astros put the shift on right away. And Morton starts things off at 96 with the strike. Now the Angels have lost 5 in a row. They've dropped 10 of their last 14. They were held to just 2 hits last night. One of them by this man, Cole Calhoun, who began the ball game with a base hit.
He beat the shift also, the first pitch of the game.
Morton ahead 0-2.
That was a cutter from Charlie Morton, and that's a pitch that he's kind of developed this year that he didn't have before. He's mostly fastball, curveball. And all of a sudden this year, when he's come over to the Astros, he's found this little cutter that just rides in on left-handed hitters. And when you're facing Charlie Morton and you're looking sinker, and then he cuts it in on your hands, it makes it for a long day. Have to cover both sides of the plate.
Three pitches, all strikes, finishes him off with 97 miles an hour. The reigning MVP, Mike Trout, missing considerable time this year, 6 weeks after a thumb injury, sliding into second base. 1 home run shy of surpassing his season total from last year's MVP campaign. Now for the Angels in August, they had a month that put them squarely near the top of the wild card picture. 18-10 for the Halos last month, their best month of the season. It has been a different story this year, however. This month of September, 7-12 now for Mike Scioscia and the Angels, and this with the addition of Upton, with the addition of Phillips. Garrett Richards back to the rotation, pitching very well last night.
They just haven't hit. We talked about it in the open. They just have not hit in the month of September. They have not done what the Angels were expected to do.
High the opposite way. A lift out to Fisher. Quick out number 2.
Especially after they get Justin Upton, they go get Brandon Phillips. They get some of these guys. The averages haven't been there. The slugging hasn't been there. Their team average hasn't been there. So it's not just one guy. I know people are going to look at Mike Trout and say he's hitting .231, but it's been a lineup-wide problem for the Angels, and that's why they've struggled. Their pitching has been better than what people thought. They just haven't hit the way they were expected to.
Now Scioscia has had to band-aid together a rotation that has been largely injured all season long, including right now. Upton looking at a strike of the knees. Upton, one of those acquisitions has an opt-out at the end of this season. Could become a free agent. But you can see career bests almost across the board. An all-star with the Tigers.
You think Mike Scioscia and Mike Trout and all these guys are giving him the hard sell in Orange County and Anaheim right now? Hey guys, Justin, it's a great place to play. The weather's beautiful every day. Great ballpark, good fans, good owner. You think they're selling him hard to not opt out at this point?
I did notice the omelet bar in front of his locker this morning inside the clubhouse for an early start. Doubles up on the curveball. That has been a very good pitch for Morton this year. Goes to it again, 2-2. Well, Upton has helped to create a deeper lineup for the Angels than they have had in years. Trying to get things going in this final week plus of time. White at first base, gallops over the bag, and a very neat and tidy 1-2-3 top of the first for Charlie Morton. The lineup for A.J. Hinch. It has a very different look to it today. Alex Bregman is leading things off. He'll be followed by Mr. Everything Marwin Gonzalez. Correa batting third. No Altuve in this lineup today. Gaddis doing the catching, batting cleanup. Gurriel up in the order, DHing. White and Fisher. Cameron Maben, the Angel from earlier this year, is in center field. And then Tony Kemp is in left. So no Springer, no Reddick, no Altuve for Johnny Allstaff today for Mike Scioscia and the Angels. It will begin with Bud Norris.
Bud Norris has been a starter for most of his career. He was converted by the Angels, and he leads the Angels in saves at this point in September. He's kind of a spot starter, but he has starting experience, especially in this ballpark, as he came up with a member of the Houston Astros. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles his emotions and how deep he can get the Angels into the game.
First pitch inside to Bregman. Now for Norris, his last time, if we can call it his last turn in the rotation, in a very similar situation, he was able to get into the third. Only second time in Bregman's career at the top of the order. And based on what A.J. Hinch was saying, he was pretty enthusiastic to be leading things
Bregman
off.
told him, A.J. Hinch, you finally got smart by starting him at the top of the order. Now Hinch went to Stanford, which is known as an intellectual school, so I don't know that made him any smarter, but we'll see what happens. And the key for Norris is a slider. He's developed a cutter. I caught him last year in Atlanta, and he developed a little bit of a cutter and fell in love with it a little bit, but he has to have a slider. He has to throw a four-seamer kind of up in the zone and then throw his slider off of it. And if his slider is effective, he'll be effective.
Ground ball up the middle past Simmons. Not easy to do. Leadoff base hit for Alex Bregman.
So Hinch just got a little bit smarter right there. Bregman right now is looking at AJ Hinch in the dugout saying, see, I told you. I've been waiting on this all year.
Gonzalez today getting his 13th start at second base with Altuve getting a breather. He has been everywhere this year for the Astros. He has homered at 5 different positions, plus as a pinch hitter. Far and away career best 22 home runs is Altuve, nearing his 4th consecutive 200 hit season. He's 4 hits shy. Unless he comes off the bench, those hits will have to wait until tomorrow.
Altuve is the MVP of the American League. For me, he's done everything for a team that was expected to win. He's played better than they thought, even Altuve. And that's saying something for the numbers he's put up the last few years. But that guy right there does everything. He plays a great second base. He made some incredible plays last night. He hits homers. He steals bases. He gets on base. He hits third. And oh, by the way, he's about 5'5", which shows you anybody in baseball can play baseball.
Now, would it have been a stiffer competition for MVP if Trout was playing at the level that we're used to seeing Trout in the final month of the season?
I think it would be, just because Trout has the reputation, and every year he's been in the league, he's finished in the top 5 of the MVP, I think it is. So he definitely has that reputation. And anytime you get that, it's kind of like a Gold Glove. You win one Gold Glove, you win like 3 or 4 in a row just because you're the easy name for people to write in. Not saying that Trout doesn't deserve it, because he does. But if Trout's healthy and he plays the month of September the way Mike Trout has done his whole career, I still got Jose Altuve. Just because of what he means to his team, it's most valuable. Look, the Angels have had a better year than people expected. They're in the wild card race, but the Astros have had the best record in the league until the Cleveland Indians went berserk all year. They've been the best team in the American League all year, and he's been their leader, so it's hard to lose him.
Smacked the opposite way, slicing out towards left field, and Upton is there to make the catch. Now, how about a side-by-side comparison?
Yeah, you can't go wrong. Look, you can't go wrong either way. Both these guys are amazing players. But Mike Trout missed a month with a thumb injury. Altuve hasn't missed any games. You see Trout leads in OBP, OPS, all that stuff, but Altuve leads in average, leads in hits, 32 stolen bases, and he plays a Gold Glove second base. So you can't go wrong with either one. But for me, this year, it's the guy you see on the right singing and dancing and whatever the heck else he's doing right there.
Well, to your point earlier, Trout has never finished lower than 2nd place in the MVP voting in any full season,
which is quite the accomplishment.
It's incredible.
It really is incredible. And he'll be there again this year.
And steps Carlos Correa, who turned 23 yesterday and was given the day off by his manager, back in the lineup today.
Well, happy birthday, Carlos. Belated by a day, but happy birthday, 23.
A 23-year-old who has hit at least 20 home runs each of his first 3 seasons in the majors. Former #1 overall draft pick. There goes Bregman. Throw down to second base. Bregman is in safe. His 17th bag of the season. I'm not sure he'll get there, AJ, but he's flirting with the 2020 campaign. 16 homers, now 17 steals.
I don't think he's going to get there, but this base is stolen off Bud Norris. High leg kick. Bregman gets a good jump. Gratterall, the great throw, right on the money. Just when your pitcher goes high leg kick like that, and you have a speedy guy on first as a catcher, you just kind of look at him and shake your head because you know there's nothing you can do about it, and it's a bad feeling. But Bregman, 2020 is a great accomplishment for anybody, but for him to do it, I don't think he's going to get the home runs to do it, just because 16 with only a limited number of games. Maybe he could get hot, and you never know, but he will get there eventually.
Meanwhile, 2-0 the count to Correa, now with a man in scoring position. A chance to drive in the first run of the game.
And if we've seen a common theme early from Bud Norris, he's been behind in the count. He was behind in the count to Bregman. He was behind in the count to Marwin Gonzalez, and now he's behind in the count to Carlos Correa. On a guy in a very short pitch count, pitch limit, you cannot fall behind. You got to go right after these guys, and he knows that.
Falls behind further, 3-1.
And that was a 2-1 slider from Bud, knowing Evan Gattis is behind Correa, trying to get him to fish. Not really. It was almost like the unintentional, intentional walk. Like, hey, don't give him anything good to hit. See if he'll go out, expand his strike zone and get himself out.
Gratterall doing the catching today. Through the right side, base hit. Bregman coming around third base. Calhoun's throw high, way over home. Correa drives in his 72nd run of the season. Bregman coming home courtesy of that stolen base, which helps things out. 1-0 Houston.
So if you're going to throw a 2-1 slider, 3-1, you better throw a better pitch, because the guy's going to be looking out over the plate like Correa was right there. That looked like a cutter out over the plate. Correa doing exactly what you're supposed to do, poking it to right field with runners in scoring position, going the other way, driving in the first run of the game. And also Cole Calhoun with a terrible throw, missing the cutoff man, and puts Correa in scoring position also.
And surprising from Calhoun, a Gold Glove winner in right field.
Just trying to do too much, trying to make a play that's not there, and that's what you run into when you're
strike one to Gattis.
You're behind in the game. You're behind in games as far as you don't have a lot of games to catch a team. So that's what happens. You start trying to do too much, which leads to not hitting, making bad throws, mental mistakes that you know better. And I would not be surprised here to see Carlos Correa try and swipe third. Get to third with 1 out. Give Gattis an easy RBI opportunity.
Into center. Playable for Trout. That keeps Correa at second base, 2 outs. That brings up Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel driving in all 3 runs of last night's game, the game that went to the Astros. A 3-run home run for Gurriel, his 18th. Normally at first base, DHing here this afternoon.
Kind of a semi-day off, a half day off. You don't have to play on the field, so you can come in and sit in between your bats, get off your feet a little bit. A.J. Hinch obviously giving some of his regulars a day off today, Altuve and Springer and Reddick. So when you already clinched the division, you can do those kind of things.
If you look at what transpired last night around the league, and the Astros trying to hunt down the Indians for the best record in the American League by year's end. Last night was only the 2nd time in the last 32 days where A.J. Hinch and the Astros won and Terry Francona and the Indians lost. Well, that's 2nd time in 32 days.
Well, that's only because the Indians have lost 2 times in 32 days. So
Upton right at the base of the warning track. That will end the inning. A runner left, but a run in. Carlos Correa making this a 1-0 Astros lead. sponsored by Budweiser, who reminds you, don't drive drunk. And by Hyundai. We start the second here inside Minute Maid Park. The roof is closed. The Astros have taken an early 1-0 lead thanks to an RBI base hit by Carlos Correa. Middle third of the order due up for the Angels. It begins with Albert Pujols. AJ, what have you made of Pujols this season from the standpoint? We know that the average is lower than he is used to seeing, but the run production has certainly been there. It seems like every hit that Pujols gets ends up driving in a run. This time going the opposite way with the shift on.
Well, Pujols, when you're an RBI guy like Albert Pujols are, you smell those RBIs. So look, that looks like a meaningless hit in the first inning. Shift beater, get some confidence going for your team, leadoff guy on base. But when you're Albert Pujols, he's still going to hit 30. He's still going to drive in 100. Granted, he can barely make it to first base because his feet and his legs are so bad. But when the game's on the line, I don't know if there's anybody else you want up, not only for the Angels, but in Major League Baseball, just because you know he's going to give you a great at-bat. He's not going to go up there swinging a bad pitch first pitch, roll it over to short. He's going to wait for the pitcher to come to him. He's done it his whole career, and first ballot Hall of Fame guy.
No doubt about that. Phillips on the first pitch to Gonzalez over to first base. Now Charlie Morton, that fantastic sinker, a ground ball pitcher, and with one pitch he gets 2 outs.
Well, even the Pujols hit was a ground ball, jammed him. So Phillips, routine ground ball, Charlie Morton, nice easy throw. Looks like Gonzalez, Pujols had some words. I don't know if it's joking or kidding, but I didn't see anything there, so I don't know why. I don't know why what they were talking about. Maybe somebody said something to him. Maybe they're talking about back home.
I don't think Albert interfered with the throw. We'll put it that way. There's Simmons, takes one inside.
No, Albert made it about halfway there and peeled off, which is the right play.
He's saving his steps.
Yes. But I don't know what there could be to yell at right there. It wasn't close at second. There was no hard slide. There was no throw at his head. So just probably some friendly banter.
One and one.
You want to know what it looks like to have 2 bad feet as a baseball player? Right there. See some smiles between the two. Well, Pujols is smiling. Gonzalez doesn't look like he's smiling. I think he's saying, hey, I beat your shift, so keep shifting on me.
Morton drops in a curve, gets ahead of Simmons 1 and 2.
You see Albert right there. You see him tapping his bat. A lot of people do that to find out where the sweet spot is. I never could figure it out. That's why I hit a lot of balls off the handle. I thought that was the sweet spot, but guys do that all the time just to find out where the sweet spot is on the bat. There's a certain sound. I never was able to find it. I don't know how it worked, but you see a lot of big leaguers, they'll grab their wooden bat and hit it and listen to where the sound is.
So you have no idea what it's supposed to sound like? This is like listening to a seashell?
Yes. Seashell I can hear. But when they tap their bat like that, I've never understood, and I've seen a lot of big league players do it. So I don't know exactly what the sound is, but if you hit it and you listen to the vibrations, you can tell where the sweet spot is supposed to be. You look puzzled.
No, I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah, that's what you said. We showed him doing it, and that's what he was doing it. Right here, see him put it up to his ear and listen.
The 1-2. I guess I'm more puzzled than anything, AJ, that you never heard it. Seriously.
I told you I hit a lot of balls off the handle. So when you're as good as Albert Pujols, you know where that sweet spot is. When you were me breaking bats, you always questioned it. So maybe I heard the sound in the wrong spot.
One hopper right back to the mound, 9 pitches. And despite that leadoff single, Charlie Morton faces the minimum for the second straight inning. by Cricket Wireless, something to smile about. And by Wells Fargo, building better every day. Astros take a 1-0 lead to the bottom of the second. Charlie Morton pitching very well so far. Has faced the minimum over the first 2 innings. There is Tyler White, first baseman today for the Astros to begin things. The average at .333 for White, but just 45 at-bats. He is at first base as Gurriel DHs.
This guy got off to an amazing start for the Astros last year. Took over at first base and then cooled off, and Gurriel came in and kind of took his job.
Norris, who routinely was behind Astros hitters in that first inning, evens the count up 1-1.
But again, ball 1. He was 1-0, so he was behind another hitter.
Norris, who was drafted and developed by the Astros. Starts of 5 years here in Houston. 2-2.
He was one of the big pieces in their original rebuild after their World Series team in 2005. Came up with all the hype through the Houston Astros organization, pitched a lot of games for them, and
he was a part of a very painful transition into the American League. And really, to be fair, it didn't matter which league the Astros were.
No, it didn't.
In such dire straits. Made 21 starts in that 111-loss season for the Astros.
That was a tough year for Houston. Playing against them in the American League and seeing them and coming here and just oof.
Strike 3 call. Fastball at the knees. White caught looking for his punch out for Norris.
Tyler White looking for something breaking. Bud Norris just painting the outside corner at the knees for strike 3. When you know the reputation of Bud Norris with the cutter and the slider as a right-handed hitter, you have to respect that. And then he sneaks a fastball in that location. You can't do anything about that.
1 out for Derek Fisher, the right fielder for the Astros. Well, AJ, it has been kind of curious when you look at how this bullpen and rotation has been worked out for the Angels in these final weeks of the season. Norris, who, as you mentioned earlier, has nearly 20 saves and has been in the bullpen this year for the Angels, has spent some time with the disabled list because, well, simply wasn't all that effective and was injured. But you look at how things are working out. He is, of course, now starting, and Jesse Chavez has made his way more permanently into the rotation, into the bullpen rather, after spending some time in the rotation for the Angels. Phillips, a good play at number 2. And as Pedro Mora of the LA Times has reported, there is some pretty significant belief that this could be simply a cost-saving effort for the Angels.
Absolutely. There's no two ways about it. If you're the Los Angeles Angels, it's 100%. As a former player, I look at it and say, if Bud Morris makes 3 or 4 more appearances, he gets $500,000.
And relief appearances.
Relief appearances. And then if you're Jesse Chavez and you make I think it's one more start, and he gets $250,000. So basically, by flip-flopping the obvious choices, they're saving $750,000. So the players know that. Their agents know that. You're never going to hear a player publicly complain. I think maybe Chavez might have said he understood because of the way he was pitching, which is a sugarcoating it, saying, man, I wish I'd like to get another chance to start one game so I could get that bonus. But Bud Norris has been in the bullpen all year. It just seems like an odd choice until you find out those numbers of why would you start Bud Norris and not Jesse Chavez? Well, then, hey, you look into it a little bit deeper, and all of a sudden you see the reason.
And we'll go down to JP Morosi. JP, I know you had a chance to talk with Bud Norris yesterday.
I did, Aaron. I asked Bud about the move going to the rotation. He said, listen, I am just trying to make the playoffs. So he did not want to criticize the decision at all. And in fact, Aaron, he said this is probably the biggest start he has ever made in this ballpark.
Well, it could make sense. We told you the lean years that he had. Well, the Astros had, not just him here in Houston, and now the Angels quickly running out of time to get that second wild card and track down the Twins.
Of course, he's not going to come out and publicly say, hey, I'm mad that they're not giving my bonus. If he says that, he wants to come back here next year. He makes the organization mad. So, but privately, I promise you, all the players know, and that permeates in that clubhouse that, hey, why are we doing this?
Weak ground ball. Gratterall spins and gets a speedy base runner in Cameron Maybin. A 1-2-3, bottom of the second, spun by Bud Norris. We are off to the third. Astros have the lead. Whether you're in the backyard or on the diamond, show us what you've got on social media with hashtag MLB The Play, and we'll feature some of the best all season long. Swinging strike one to Luis Valbuena.
Can you catch?
As in what you did, or catch a baseball?
Well, the foul ball that Valbuena just hit was about two booths over. So,
oh no, you
if
are.
one comes flying in here,
There is a very clear hierarchy in this booth when it comes to foul balls, and I don't think I need to explain it. Off the hands, a weak pop-up. Only man there, Bregman.
I think a weak pop-up understates what that was right there. That was a jam sandwich, whatever you want to call it, knuckleball, knuckle shot, off his fist, whatever you want to say. That was the epitome of it. And anytime the third baseman who's already playing in has to charge it, you walk back to the dugout with your head down.
Strike one to Cron. Cron, the former first-round draft pick out of Utah, with 16 home runs on the season. And as we talked about Norris falling behind hitters, AJ, it seems like Morton is constantly ahead of these Angels hitters.
Well, that's his MO. Bud Norris only thrown first pitch strike to 3 out of 8, where Charlie Morton is first pitch strike, first pitch strike, first pitch strike. Let's get ahead of these guys, put the pressure on the hitter. Anytime you're ahead in the count, the hitter tightens up a little bit, has to protect, and cuts down on a swing. You can't cover as a hitter both sides of the plate. So if you get ahead strike one, the hitter says, okay, I have to look for here or here. And with Morton's sinker and then his cutter and curveball off of it, it just opens up both sides and makes it a long day for a hitter.
Another ground ball stays fair to Bregman, throwing on the run. 2 outs. Well, now a message from our sponsor.
That's right. T-Mobile Unlimited family plans now include Netflix on us.
2 up, 2 down, both the way to Bregman at third base. Here's the catcher, Juan Granderol, batting ninth. First pitch strike to each of the first 3 hitters this inning from Morton.
Gratterall known more as a defensive guy, catch and throw guy, than for his bat, but had some hits for the Angels here. Hitting ninth. Just want to try to turn the lineup over for Cole Calhoun. And that's the sinker from Charlie Morton. The first 2 pitches just riding in on Gratterall, running into his hands and just trying to get an easy ground ball like he did off the bat of C.J. Cron.
The 0-2 barely gets a piece right back to the glove of Gaddis. Back-to-back 9-pitch innings from Charlie Morton. Nothing but strikes. Begins October 3rd with the American League Wild Card on ESPN and October 4th with the National League Wild Card on TBS. Then October 5th, the American League Division Series begins on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Number 9 hitter Tony Kemp leads things off. Now the first pitch skies it out to Upton. 1 pitch and 1 out to begin the bottom of the 3rd for Bud Norris.
And I had all these great things to say about Tony Kemp, and he goes and swings at the first pitch.
Kemp out number 1. Now here's Alex Bregman for the 2nd time. He has scored the lone run of this game. Now Bregman, the former number 2 overall draft pick out of LSU in 2015. Where's number 2 for 2 different reasons. One, because, well, like most guys these days who are number 2, they idolize Derek Jeter. But the other because a little chip on his shoulder was the number 2 pick in the draft, and he is not forgetting that.
Who was number 1?
A rival of his in college, Dansby Swanson.
Ah. ex-teammate of mine, Dansby. He's got better. Dansby has better hair than Bregman.
Well,
so.
better than most, to be fair.
Yes, that's true.
Both in the SEC. In fact, Bregman was actually first-team All-SEC shortstop ahead of Swanson. And his career very prolific at LSU, as you can imagine. And is known as an extreme baseball rat, so much so that his final year in college, he convinced his coach to actually give him the keys to the ballpark. And this prevented, of course, his coach from driving over at midnight to open the place up so that Bregman can get some swings. And JP, I know you've got a little bit more on this.
Well, Aaron, here is how much Alex Bregman loves the game. Bregman actually has already won a gold medal this year with Team USA at the WBC, and when the U.S. team arrived in San Diego for the second round of the tournament, they had an off night. And how did Alex spend that night off? He bought a ticket to watch Puerto Rico play the Dominican Republic.
I think the key there is that he actually bought the ticket. You would think.
There's no way he bought a ticket.
You don't think he bought it?
No.
I think he's got it in.
He bought the ticket. I heard the story from a source during the tournament. I approached Alex yesterday and asked him, Alex, did you buy the ticket? He said, yes, I did.
Well, nothing makes JP happier than World Baseball Classic.
That's a great point.
You know me very well, gentlemen. You know me very well.
Second strikeout for Norris. That's a fine point. Take a look at that last pitch.
Just a high heater. Bregman pulls off a little bit. Again, when you're a right-handed hitter facing Bud Norris with the cutter and slider, he surprises you with a fastball with 2 strikes. It's hard to stay on it and hard not to be late on it. Bregman played at LSU under Paul Maneri, who recruited me out of high school when he was at the Air Force Academy.
How about that?
Yeah.
2 outs for Marwin Gonzalez.
Wanted me to come be a pilot at the Air Force.
You wouldn't fit in the cockpit. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I've been in the Blue Angels once, and I literally barely fit. I also barely held my lunch in, so it kind of goes hand in hand. But being a pilot would have been tough for someone like myself.
One and one. Now, years ago, Gonzalez was simply known as the guy who broke up.
Don't say it. Don't say it. He broke up Yu Darvish's perfect game. I know.
You remember that?
It was right here. I was right about 2 feet behind home plate and watched the ball go between Yu Darvish's legs with 2 outs in the 9th. Second game of the year, 2013. Yep, you had to go there.
I thought it might elicit a reaction of some kind.
I still hate
a positive one.
I don't even know Marwin Gonzalez, but I hate him just because of that one swing. He took a cutter first pitch and hit it right between our pitcher's legs to 8 2/3 of a perfect game. I'm still bitter, just a little bit.
I'm sorry that this didn't come with nobody out as opposed to 2. Tight to the line and a fair ball. Boy, that Gonzalez is some kind of hitter, isn't he, AJ?
He's having a great year.
He's legging it out for 2. A 2-out double. That snaps 7 in a row, sat down by Norris.
That ball's a foot off the plate. His rear end is in the dugout, but his hands stay on the ball just enough to hit it down the left field line for a double. The third baseman is that far over. The guy makes the pitch he wants. That's not supposed to happen. So as the Angels, all you can kind of do is shake your head. And if you're Marwin Gonzalez, you're a tremendous hitter.
Another RBI chance for Carlos Correa.
Not for long.
Never mind. I'll put him on. An intentional pass to bring up Gaddis.
I ask this every time. Do I on my scorecard, do I mark down 4 pitches, or do they not count?
No.
They don't count?
No pitches. No pitches.
In Little League now it counts.
Oh, no. Does it really?
In Little League it counts my son's Little League team, I've helped coach, and whenever we decide to put somebody on, it counts as 4 pitches, even though they didn't throw them.
Well, that makes no sense, right?
You're right. A lot of things don't make sense, but that's one of them.
Two on, 2 out for Evan Gattis. Inside corner for a strike. Activity inside the bullpen. Eduardo Paredes. 13 relievers available for Mike Scioscia today.
It doesn't look like he's in a hurry to get loose. So looks like this is Bud Norris's inning for sure to finish, and then Paredes will probably start the next inning, I'm guessing.
Hard hit and snared by Valbuena at third base. That is some kind of play. Cannot hit one any harder, but Valbuena keeps that on the infield and converts it into out number 3. Worth another look. Sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Tide. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide. Leadoff man Cole Calhoun begins the 4th. On the first pitch, another ground ball. Morton is just simply carving through this Angels lineup. In between innings, Bud Norris after 3 frames. Making a case to go back out there?
Yeah, he's begging to go back out there. He wants to go back out there, and it looks like his case worked because the bullpen, Paredes, has been set down. So feels good. 40 pitches in. Let me go. By the way, was that shot we showed, was that Cletus, the Fox robot?
It was awfully similar, wasn't it?
Getting in his off-season conditioning.
Inside NASA headquarters?
Yeah. Is that where Fox got Cletus from, NASA?
1 out for Mike Trout.
Mix between Cletus and Iron Man with the blue thing in the middle of his chest there. Aaron, what do you think?
I think you're spot on. Oh, a little shaky there. A little shaky in the left leg. 3 pitches and 2 outs so far for Charlie Morton. That sinker is doing its job.
If you're Mike Trout, you go back to the dugout, you just hit a weak ground ball to the pitcher, and you're like, hey, Cole Calhoun, thanks for swinging at the first pitch changeup rolling over, because then I got to take the next one right down the middle. And then what does Charlie Morton do? He gets even nastier on the second pitch with the ball down and a weak ground ball back to the pitcher. So Charlie Morton has the sinker going. There's been 2 fly ball outs. The rest have been either strikeouts or on the ground. So he's doing exactly what he needs to do.
First pitch to Justin Upton. Is this Dallas Keuchel with velocity, or are there more differences? Is that too sweeping of a statement?
That's too big of a statement.
Yeah. Keuchel's won a Cy Young. He's been one of the best in recent years. He's been healthy.
Charlie Morton is a Roy Halladay. His motion is similar, and I know for a while when he was in.
Breaks his bat.
Twice.
Breaks it again. Charlie Morton has faced the minimum over 4 scoreless innings. He has been fantastic. Bud Norris back out to work the bottom of the 4th facing Yuli Gurriel. They appeal down to first base on the check swing. It does not go. Ball 1.
I'd expect Mike Scioscia to have a short leash on Bud Norris here. I know he talked his way back out there, but somebody gets on base, some trouble arises. I expect a quick hook here from Mr. Scioscia.
Paredes back up and warming.
In the first 2 pitches of this inning showed a little bit of fatigue. A slider pulled down and away, and then a fastball that misses up and in. And then a cutter that doesn't break across the plate and stays in. So little signs that a manager looks for. Location first, velocity probably second. Location and sharpness of pitches first, and then velocity second.
Three balls and a strike.
Bud behind the count again. The innings he's had that have been quick and easy, he's ahead in the count, and then this inning he falls behind 3-1. If you talk your way back out there, you better back it up. That angers a pitching coach and a manager faster than anything. Is if you say, hey, I want to get back out there, and you go out and you fall behind the guy, and then whatever happens here, if he gets him out, great. But if he doesn't, he walks or gives up a hit, then inside it burns a little bit. I think those two are just hoping and praying that he can get a couple outs here in the fourth inning and save their bullpen as much as possible here.
In play to Simmons, who's had a pretty quiet day so far. That's going to be it for Norris. 3 1/3. Socia has made the call, making the walk. Paredes coming in. We'll step aside for a pitching change. Astros leading things 1-0 here in the fourth. For excitement, drama, and of course thrilling plays. The 2017 Major League Baseball postseason begins October 3rd. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. Well, last Sunday, right here inside Minute Maid Park, the Astros clinching their first division title since 2001. Plenty to celebrate as Eduardo Paredes is the new pitcher in back of Bud Norris, who goes a season high 46 pitches.
And did a nice job. Gave up the 1 run, but even though falling behind the count, we kept talking about it, but he got outs and kept him in the game, and that's all Mike Socia was looking for.
Inside to Tyler White.
Now see, they counted on our graphic. They counted the intentional walk, so maybe they do count. I think you're wrong, Aaron. I think you're wrong. I'm going with the graphics, guys.
Well, this hits him, or does it not? It does. Do 4 pitches count? He hits him with his second offering. And now Socia's coming out.
Did it hit him or not? Yes, it hit him in the elbow. Socia went back in. He realized his video guy called and said, yep, it hit him. Nice hit by pitch right there if you're Tyler White. barely nicks you, get to go to first.
One out, one on for Derek Fisher.
Fisher, one of many Astros prospects that is very highly regarded. Remember, during the trade deadline, he was one of the guys that didn't want to give up.
He's got some pretty serious tools. He moves very well.
He's got the look of a big leaguer. He's got the white shoes, the pants over the shoes.
Isn't that easy?
Yeah, he's got all the flair. He's got the elbow guard, the arm sleeve, the batting gloves. He looks like a big leaguer, the beard.
So the barber and the equipment manager.
Yes.
That's who it's up to.
Yeah, sometimes it can be. Look good. My old high school coach by the name of Danny Alley used to say, look good, feel good, play good. So, number one, you got to look good if you want to play good. Plus, if you look good, it might scare the pitcher a little bit.
A couple of young men facing each other. Paredes making his major league debut earlier this year. 22 years old, out of Venezuela. Full count. A bullpen day for the Angels. Paredes is just the beginning. Norris able to get the Angels into the fourth. Paredes channeling his inner Kimbrel.
I was just thinking the same thing. That's a little Craig Kimbrel-esque. And Fisher looks like Ike Davis up there with the way he stands and the way he holds his bat and the beard. So we've got Kimbrel versus Ike Davis here in an old NL East matchup between the Braves and the Mets. Ike Davis used to stand straight up and down with the bat low like that. Kimbrel still does the same stance as Paredes.
He gets him on 91. Meanwhile, might take it off, cut down at second. It's a strike him out, throw him out, and it ends the inning. We go to the fifth. Astros have the only run of the game. On to the top of the 5th. That's where Albert Pujols leads it off for the Angels. Charlie Morton in an absolute groove since essentially the first pitch today. Another first pitch strike. Morton's longest inning was the first when he threw 11 pitches. He's wearing out Bregman at third base. On a hop. Pick there by White. Well, some dignitaries here inside the ballpark. Chris Paul, one of the newest Rockets, traded in late June. 9-time All-Star, has won a couple of gold medals as well. Looking good in an Astros t-shirt. Taking in some early day baseball in downtown Houston.
It's always fun when guys from other sports teams in your city come out. It's especially fun when they try to take BP because most of them aren't very good. The hockey guys usually are okay, but you get the 6'8", 6'9" basketball players. They usually have a little bit of a hard time.
Is there a loop in their swing?
There's a hole in their swing. It's usually pretty large also.
Trevor Ariza, his teammate.
Sorry, Trevor, we didn't mean to interrupt your phone call.
The 0-1 to Phillips. Curveball misses to make
Maven acquired from the Angels by the Astros in an intra-division swap, claimed off waivers.
Second pitch of the at-bat, a ground ball out to Simmons. And we'll take a look at the transactions here. Claimed off of waivers, of course, the acquisition of Upton, making Maven a little bit more expendable, and his salary. Phillips coming over as well, the trade with the Atlanta Braves. August 31st deadline was very exciting around the game, and both these teams, obviously Verlander, who we've talked about, who started last night, has been just off the charts good in his 4 starts since coming over to Houston.
It was interesting. A.J. Hinch said by trading Cameron Maven, the Angels actually helped the Astros get Justin Verlander, because that freed up money for the Angels to get Justin Upton to play left field for the money. Then Justin Verlander saw Justin Upton go, and therefore he said, man, we really are going full rebuild. So then he okayed the trade to Houston, which most people didn't think that he would do. So the Astros and the Astros fans need to thank not only Cameron Maven when he comes up to hit, but also Justin Upton and the Angels for, in a roundabout way, getting him that man, Justin Verlander.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall at that point. You can see the numbers since coming over. The strikeout to walk ratio ridiculous, as is the ERA and opposing average. You look at the way things have worked out for the Astros. Jake Marisnick done for the year, breaking a finger on a headfirst slide. So with Maven coming over the fold, his value increases even more so without Marisnick, who's really having a breakout season in a number of ways.
How many injuries on slides? Trout.
Kemp, a charge out to center field, not deep enough. Trout is there. Correa as well, who missed significant time.
There's this head first slide thing. It's been an epidemic throughout Major League Baseball. Correa, first of all, you never slide into home plate.
Right after the All-Star break, aggravated it again.
Then Marisnick. Now Springer again didn't learn his lesson, so he figured they didn't learn their lesson after the first 2 guys. Will try again. So you never slide head first into home plate. There's too many bad things that can happen. So these guys have all missed time. Then you throw in Mike Trout in center field for the Angels, sliding head first, and these thumb things have become kind of the new injury in Major League Baseball. I know Pedroia has had it happen. There's been a ton of guys. We saw Jimmy Nelson of the Brewers, their #1 pitcher, go down sliding head first back into first, running the bases. So don't slide head first.
Well, we talked to A.J. Hinch about this today. It's a slippery slope for a manager, isn't it, though, to try to pull the reins in on a player?
Well, you never tell someone don't go out and play not to get hurt, because then you'll get hurt. Just go out and play your game, but
tell them don't slide head first.
Yeah.
This catches a piece of Bregman.
Yeah, you can't tell someone not to do something that's just natural. And I think the biggest point he made, A.J. Hinch, was that if I tell these guys to slide feet first, most of them have never done it, so they don't know how to slide feet first. So head first is their natural slide, and they just do it on instinct alone. So you can't tell someone not to do something they've done their whole life, because you're going to do it. So I understand where A.J. Hinch is going with his point, but at the same time, don't slide head first, guys.
Meanwhile, Paredes had not hit a batter.
The look on his face explains it all. And for this season in Major League Baseball, that's one of the biggest injuries. To me, that's unavoidable. Now you see these guys wear these big protectors on their thumbs, and they almost look like oven mitts. And that's why, because you don't want to hurt a thumb. As a hitter, your hands are important. There's the oven mitt. And Brett Gardner used to have one that was about 8 inches longer than that. So it keeps your fingers in place, but it also gives you a couple extra inches when you're sliding into a base, and can make you safer out. So as a former catcher, I don't like those things, because it might have cost me some stolen base, caught stealings over my career.
The method of just simply gripping your batting gloves, running the bases, that doesn't cut it anymore?
No. Well, no.
You don't get the extension, right?
You don't get the extension, and besides that, you don't want to get your batting gloves dirty when you slide. Bregman right there, if he's holding his batting gloves, has got dirt all over him. He's got to get a new pair.
It'll match his jersey, though.
That's true. But he has a different guard on. If you look at his left wrist, his is more of a wrist guard than a hand or a thumb guard.
J.P. Morosi, what do you have to add to this?
Well, Aaron, thinking about the Trout injury, he missed 6 weeks after injuring his thumb there. That single slide profoundly changed both the AL wildcard race and the AL MVP race. You have to think that with Trout in the lineup for those 6 weeks, Aaron, they would have won at least 3 or 4 more games based on the wins above replacement calculation and just his overall value to the team. And that profoundly changes where the Angels stand right now in the standings, and also could be the difference between Altuve winning the MVP and Trout winning it yet again.
No, you're absolutely right. And if you take it even a step further for the Angels and look at it from the lens of the wild card, not so much the MVP race. Imagine if the Angels had Garrett Richards all season long. If they had Richards and Trout for a full season healthy, I wonder what this wild card race would look like right now.
Also, if Trout doesn't get hurt, do the Angels go out and get Upton and Phillips? If they're 3 or 4 games better and they're ahead in the wild card instead of just behind, do they make the moves they made at the August 31st deadline to try to get them back in? And they've fallen off recently. They were right there with Minnesota. Now they're 3.5 back, so definitely running out of time quickly.
To your point earlier, what A.J. Hinch said, not to take this too far down the path, but if they don't make the move to get Upton, what does that do to Verlander? Does he stay? Does he not leave? Is the handwriting not enough on the wall at that point if Upton sticks around?
Isn't it funny how one little thing can affect all these other moves? And Verlander's been huge for them in the starts. And the interesting thing I found from A.J. Hinch was him talking about how he's kind of taking McCullers under his wing and Keuchel's following him around, how they've fallen into line, and how Verlander in less than a month has become kind of the alpha in their starting rotation.
Still 2-2 on Gonzalez.
There's the 2 of them, Keuchel on the right, McCullers on the left, and Verlander's just to the other side of them. And Hinch, I thought it was funny that A.J. Hinch said he hadn't seen them in the dugout all year, and then all of a sudden Verlander shows up and those 2 guys are sitting next to him listening. So he's done more just by showing up and getting guys to talk baseball on the bench when they're not pitching, which is huge. And I think that's Peacock on the right. So
correct.
4 of the starters are right there talking ball.
Big night coming up tomorrow for McCullers, who is partially hit in there. He will start in the series finale tomorrow night. He has hardly pitched really since the All-Star break, getting with some arm fatigue. Ground ball through the left side. Gonzalez aboard for the second time. He's 2 for 3. That pushes Bregman into second base.
That guy can hit. He's really found something this year. He's always been able to hit, but now he's found the power. And then when in doubt with 2 strikes, you can beat the shift the other way. It's a good feeling when you can go both ways.
Visit out to the mound, talking things over with Paredes. If you look at this Astros team into the postseason, I think you can make the case, AJ, that the Astros have the 2 most versatile players at their respective position or positions. You look at Gonzalez, all the positions that he can play, and then look inside that bullpen for A.J. Hinch. Chris Davinsky, there's not quite a reliever like him. You can make the case for Andrew Miller, of course, but Davinsky will work in more various innings than Miller for the most part. More activity inside the bullpen. Blake Wood getting loose for the Angels. And these are 2 guys who fill a variety of roles for the Astros.
They do, and those guys are valuable in today's game because of the lineup, the way people like to match up, the platoon situation. And when you have a guy like Gonzalez who can play the outfield, the infield, and do any position well, and then you have Davinsky that comes out of the bullpen and can not only give you 1 inning, but 3 or 4 innings if you need it, that saves the bullpen for the next day. So those guys are valuable, like Andrew Miller was, we saw last year with Cleveland in their run to the World Series. So those guys are extra valuable in today's game because of the way the lineups and the matchups are set.
2 on 2 out for Correa. Intentionally walked his last time up.
And this is a big at-bat in this game, not only for the Astros, but for the Angels. If Correa somehow finds a way to drive in 1 run or 2 runs, really put the Angels in trouble, but the Angels get out of it, it'll give them a momentum to try to go in and score some runs.
Thump towards the Crawford boxes and in front of the base of the wall. Bregman coming around and scores. Gonzalez held at third base. It's Carlos Correa 2 and the Angels nothing.
Hanging slider over the inside part of the plate. Correa actually clips this off the end of the bat. It's the only thing that kept it in the park. Good placement by him down the left field line. Double RBI. Astros up 2-0. As Correa puts on his oven mitt.
He's been up on board 3 times in as many tries. Double, a single, an intentional walk.
And this all came with 2 outs. He had 2 outs, nobody on for Paredes. He barely nicks Bregman's jersey. Nice hitting by Gonzalez. And then a hanging slider to Correa. And instead of the Angels being down only 1, they're down 2. And with more trouble here with the cleanup hitter for the Astros and Evan Gattis.
I have a feeling A.J. Hinch will be hearing it from Alex Bregman as he has scored both runs today.
Making him look smart.
Eager to be in the leadoff spot where he was this afternoon. 2 in scoring position, 2 down for Gattis. Looks at strike 1. Gattis absolutely torches this. 3-run shot coming right at you. His 12th of the season makes it 5-0 Houston. All this coming with 2 outs and strike 1 to Gurriel.
That's a strong man right there, Evan Gattis. Make a mistake to him, he'll hit you up in the choo-choo train out over left field. 3-run homer, big lead for the Astros. Fastball mislocation, up and in. I always love the people's reaction when you see it. He knows it right away, walks home. When you hit one that far, and everybody knows it, then you just want to see where it lands. So not only does the hitter want to watch it, but the guys on base, the only guy that doesn't want to see it is the pitcher. He just wants to put his head down and ask for another ball.
423 feet on that blast. Down back to the glove of Gratterall, and that ends the inning. But with 2 outs, the Astros cash in big time, especially with this swing from Evan Gattis. And by Budweiser, who reminds you, don't drink, drive drunk. Now 5-0 Houston now, which seems like plenty of run support the way that Charlie Morton is pitching.
Through 43 pitches through 5 innings, by the way. That's very efficient.
He has 4 straight single-digit pitch innings.
And after a long inning, he comes out and falls behind 2-0 to Valbuena. For those of you that remember Roy Halladay, Charlie Morton has changed his delivery to emulate him. Imitate, emulate, whatever the right word is. One of the two.
We're with you.
Yeah, you know what I meant here. So, but now he's also found velocity.
Well, this is his first 3-ball count of the day.
In a long inning, your team goes out and scores 4 for you. You relax a little bit. As easy as it is to be like, don't do that, you do it mentally just a little bit. So this is a big hitter to get him out after your team scored 4. Get him out, get your boys back in the dugout to swing the bats again.
Almost everything on the ground. Lined, and it is a fair ball into the corner. Valbuena chugging for second base. Only the second hit today for the Angels. And the first time they've had a runner in scoring position.
That guy's got the best bat flip in baseball. He does it every time. Whether he makes an out, hits a double, hits a home run, and I think there was an altercation earlier this year, wasn't there, between him and
not long ago, Mike
Fiers. He hit a home run, bat flipped, and Mike Fiers took exception, which I understand.
Fiers suspended for 5 games. Of course, former teammates. Valbuena, formerly of the Astros. This gets a piece. Looked like maybe the elbow guard of Crone. All of a sudden, 2-minute board.
There you go. Let's get the fireworks started. Valbuena, home run. Bat flip, arm up. Fiers doesn't like it. Said something to him. I guess he's trying to hit him there. That was one of those, hey, this is a warning shot.
Now 2 on, nobody out. First time that Morton's really had to sweat a little bit today. Eric Young Jr., the pinch hitter for Juan Granderol, the catcher.
A.J. Hinch said that Charlie Morton this whole season has been really good, but he usually has 1 inning every start where things kind of get haywire on him, and they're hoping this isn't the inning. The Angels sense that it might be, so therefore they pinch hit Eric Young for Juan Granderol to try to keep this inning alive and get back into this game.
And for what it's worth, I mentioned Valbuena's hit being just the second today. They have changed the E1 on Charlie Morton to an infield base hit off the bat of Brandon Phillips in the 5th.
As they should.
First pitch strike.
And it affects nothing either way. No earned runs. There was a double play right after that, so no earned runs doesn't affect anything. So being a hitter, give the hitters all the hits they can get.
Chop foul, 0-2. Morton has finally reached 50 pitches. You can see this is a joke on this pitch count by inning.
It's not a joke if you're on his team and you're playing defense behind him. You love it.
On pace to throw more pitches this inning than any other, which isn't really saying a whole lot. 11 his high water mark so far.
Yeah, when you're into the 6 and your high water mark is only 11, you're having a pretty good day as a pitcher.
Has had 1 double play ball turned behind. I'm looking for another. Curveball in the dirt, 2-2.
And EY Jr. is a hard guy to double up with his speed, so It would take a pretty hard hit ground ball right at somebody for them to turn one on air.
Balbuena at second, the leadoff double. Cron hit by a pitch. Cut on and miss. Third strikeout for Charlie Morton.
Nasty curveball from Charlie Morton. Ball just goes under EY's bat. Pinch hitting's the hardest thing to do in baseball. Come off the bench in a big situation, get a hit, and then you get that sequence of pitches with the breaking balls, high fastballs. That ball coming out of Charlie Morton's hand looks like it's going to be a pitch out, and it breaks to the inner part of the plate. So people always say, man, why can you not hit that curveball? Can't you see it coming? It's because of the way it starts out, and it starts out off the plate like that one and breaks towards the plate. That was more of a backdoor curveball, meaning it started way off the plate, so probably a foot outside to Cole Calhoun, and it comes back for a strike. It's hard to pull the trigger on a ball like that as a hitter because you see it out of the hand and judge it out of the hand first.
The 1-1. Breaks his bat. Shoots it deep to right field, though. Fisher is on the track to make the catch. Balbuena tagging. Advancing into third base. 2 outs, runners on the corners. That's a pretty serious carry to it.
That ball just kept going. Snapped his bat right off the get-go, and see the right fielder back up to the warning track. That's pretty remarkable. Shows you how strong these guys are today playing. Break your bat, snap your bat, and still almost hit a home run.
I mean, if we were in Denver, that'd be one thing.
Well, it's either that or some people have alluded to the ball might be a little bit harder this year, but
2 outs, runners on the corners for Mike Trout. The commissioner has addressed that. Rob Manfred has said that each ball is manufactured by hand, and there may be, of course, like anything made by hand, there could be some slight differences, minor differences from one ball to the next, but that there is nothing different to the ball this year, although some players would beg to differ.
Ask the pitchers what they think. The pitchers will tell you they're a lot different. So blister problems have snuck up and some other things have happened, and I'm not saying it's happened, but it has been mentioned.
Pours over a strike to even it up to Trout, 1-1.
Also, the velocities are up in baseball, so home runs are up, so there's a lot of factors. And Trout really struggling with runners on this year. OBP is very high because no one wants to pitch to him. They don't want Mike Trout to beat him. If you're facing the Angels, you have the advance meeting before the series. The first thing you say is Mike Trout will not beat us in this series.
Now for Morton, this is the first inning that he has actually missed with some pitches. Through nothing more than a 1 ball in 3 straight innings. 2-2. Trout not looking too pleased.
Good pitch by Morton. Might have been an inch or 2 off the plate, but he's been around the plate so much that umpires, they just get used to calling strikes. So when you throw a lot of strikes, you get more strikes called. And Trout not happy, shaking his head, saying, hey, I'm the MVP. You're not supposed to call that on me. It's like Michael Jordan in basketball, got all the calls, and Mike Trout gets them too.
The next pitch will be the 20th this inning, which for Morton will be like running a marathon so far today.
And he will not challenge him right here. I don't think he will.
strike three call, 96-mile-an-hour heat. Morton gets out of a jam, strands runners on the corners. Going right after the reigning MVP. NFL kickoff. Carissa Thompson, Tony Gonzalez, Dave Wanstead, Colin Cowherd, and Michael Vick have all the latest breaking news and updates you need to start your football Sunday. Fox NFL kickoff tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. 5-0 Astros as we make our way to the bottom of the 6th inning. New pitcher up on the mound, Noe Ramirez. Working for the Angels. Starts wide off with the first pitch strike.
Ramirez, a sidearm guy, low 3/4. Former Red Sox teammate of mine. Known sinker slider guy.
Carlos Perez doing the catching now. Gratterall was lifted for a pinch hitter. Out towards Upton near the alleyway. Good start for Ramirez. 2 pitches and 1 out. That brings up Derek Fisher, the number 7 hitting right fielder for the Astros. Now Ramirez takes over for Paredes, who went an inning and 2/3, gave up the 3-run smash to Gaddis, which has really lengthened the Astros lead. For the 5 runs for Houston coming in the 5th. We've talked about how muddy the wild card picture is in the American League. The Astros, one of just 5 teams in the league with a winning record, and today on the hunt for what would be their 95th win of the season.
I'm just amazed because the Astros have been in the playoffs a few times. This was their first division title since 2001. you just assume that when you're in the playoffs as much as the Astros have been in 04, 05, even in 15, that they got in via division title, not wild card. And then you look up and see that stat, and it's been wild card, wild card, wild card for the Astros.
A.J. Hinch and Dallas Keuchel have both talked about how much better this team is, noticeably, considerably better than that wild card team from 2 years ago that went to the Bronx. It was Keuchel who got that start at Yankee Stadium in the wild card game. Able to take down the Yankees on their home turf. Looking to make a deeper run this year. Here comes Phillips. 2 outs. Longest big league title droughts. You can see the Indians at the top, 68 years. They're in first place, of course. Rangers trying to fight for the wild card picture. The Astros have clinched. Brewers 48 years or 2 games in back of the wild card. And the Nationals on their way to the postseason again.
Cleveland could have, should have had it a couple times in that last year, Game 7. It was up 3-1. They've lost a couple heartbreaking World Series, 97 to the Marlins, 95 to the Braves. So they've had some opportunities. The Astros have been to the World Series once in 2005, but they got swept by some team that had a really good catcher on it.
And how about a historic angle on this, JP?
North American professional sports writ large. The Astros are the second oldest franchise, again, on the continent that's in continuous operation that's never won that major sports championship. The only older team, the Texas Rangers, founded in 1961. The Astros 1 year later.
She's bobbled by Ramirez. It will extend the inning. Will look to be out number 3.
Pure panic set in for Ramirez right here. His back is turned to the plate when he sees it, and it's hit so softly. You have so much time. You cannot believe that you can miss a ball hit that softly, but takes kind of a funky hop on him, comes up a little bit, and E1.
Nair on the mound with 2 outs. That brings up Tony Kemp. Down at the plate, 0-1.
Aaron, your Mariners are in there for a long, long drought too, correct?
Longest playoff drought currently in baseball. You remember playing that 2001 team?
That was probably, the 2001 team was probably one of the best Major League Baseball teams I've ever seen assemble from 1 to 25. And we played them and played them tough, and they still found ways to beat us.
You told a great story on the whip around earlier this year about the brooms on the video board at Sept Field.
Most teams count Ks or wins. They had a big thing out right kind of over the Hit It Here Cafe. They said sweeps, and they had brooms up there. So, and needless to say, when I was on the Twins that year, we went to Seattle, and they added another broom to their collection. So it was, what a place to play. What a great stadium.
And trying to hang in there.
And they did it after giving up Alex Rodriguez, after getting rid of Ken Griffey Jr. They brought in some lesser known guys, and Brent Boone had a great year, Jamie Moyer, some of these other guys, but you think when you get rid of those guys you get worse, but they found a way to get better. But of course couldn't finish it off, losing to the Yankees.
Weak ground ball to Phillips. Thigh high bounce, and that ends the inning. 6 innings in the books here in Houston. Astros leading the Angels 5-0. Well, the Astros and their families visited the shelter set up at George R. Brown Convention Center. They spent plenty of time with families, many kids as well, that had been displaced by Hurricane Harvey. It was the Astros' first day back in Houston following the hurricane. The Mets were in town. The Mets were very gracious. They agreed to postpone Friday's game and set up a doubleheader on Saturday. Of course, the Astros and the Rangers having to play 3 games in St. Pete at Tropicana Field because of Hurricane Harvey. Upton leading things off here in the 7th.
These hurricanes hit home for me, being from Florida, growing up in Florida. Irma, after Harvey, the devastation of Harvey hit Florida, and I have friends that live in the Keys, which got devastated by Irma. And then obviously all of Florida, we had 100-mile-an-hour winds at my house about 2:30 in the morning from Irma, and a lot of people I know barely or still don't have power in Florida. So it's tough, and I understand what they've done here in Houston has been amazing. J.J. Watt obviously raising all the money, but you see those guys out there helping these people. I get it, and it's hard. And with the Puerto Rico recently, with all these guys from Puerto Rico.
Upton with a big-time blast, absolutely crushed. Upton continuing to tack on to his career season. That is his 33rd home run. Angels trying to inch back into this one. They're on the board for the first time.
That was an absolute bomb. Hanging breaking ball. Clips it out front. Gets the desired launch angle that everyone's looking for today, and hits it up over the train tracks into the windows in left field of Minute Maid Park.
Pujols nicked by a pitch. A little bit of a gaze out towards Morton.
You heard Charlie Morton yell right away. That was totally unintentional, just a little mad. But still, anytime you throw at a Hall of Famer after a home run, or you hit him, he wasn't throwing at him, you hit him, even if it's accidentally, you're going to get a look. Trying to throw a sinker in, just clips the jersey. As a hitter, you're just mad. You're just mad because you know the guy before you just hit one 425 feet. Next pitch is in, clips you. You're going to give it a look.
Pujols at first for Phillips. As we take a look at Albert Pujols, our Gatorade player profile, most plate appearances without a home run for Albert Pujols. How about Charlie Morton in the top 5? Bud Norris, the starting pitcher for the Angels today, leading the charge.
Those middle 3 guys are really good.
This is tattooed out to left field. On the warning track, however, Minute Maid will hold it. Tony Kemp is there.
Pujols is looking like, why are you hitting me? I've never hit a home run off you. So you shouldn't throw it at me. Throw it at Justin Upton. He's the one that just hit one 450 feet off of you. Pujols still got a little bit of a angry face looking over there, but again, someone that's been thrown at many times and thrown out. You understand the frustration.
Missing inside of Simmons.
But if you've watched the game, you know that's Charlie Morton's game. Sinkers into, especially to right-handed hitters. So you just miss, you get around one a little bit, it'll buzz you inside, and every once in a while you'll clip a right-handed hitter like you did with Pujols.
Now, so many people, so many organizations have contributed to Harvey relief. You can go to youcaring.com/AstrosHarvey to help contribute to the cleanup efforts here in Houston. It's a strike across.
Well, Aaron, like I was saying before, the home run from Upton kind of ended, and the Hurricanes, the water is the thing, and the wind. Yes, we had 100-mile-an-hour plus winds at my house in Orlando, and people without power. But what happened here in Houston is on a different scale because of the water. And you're not prepared for the water to come in. And I know people down in South Florida had the water, and it's just devastating. And then this week with Puerto Rico and Maria Correa from Puerto Rico with his cleats that have the Puerto Rican flag on it. Alex Cora from Puerto Rico, the bench coach for the Astros. That still people there that don't have power, don't have water. Friends down there that don't have anything. So these hurricanes are hard to deal with, and a lot of people have gone through a lot of hard times. So anything people can do to help, please do whatever you can. If it's $1, $10, whatever it is.
And for more on Maria and how it has impacted so many people in Puerto Rico, and especially with the Astros, JP Morosi, you have more.
Yes, Aaron. Carlos Beltran is one of the most respected people from Puerto Rico, baseball or otherwise, and a phenomenal gesture by Carlos and his wife Jessica yesterday, donating $1 million to Hurricane Maria victims. And Aaron, right now the island of Puerto Rico is largely without power. In fact, some reports say the entire island is without power. So Carlos Beltran doing the best he can to help with his website of www.crowdrise.com. That's where the Beltran fundraiser can be found.
And we've heard so many players from Puerto Rico talk about trying to call home, and the line's just dead. No response on the other end. A 1-out walk. Pujols, who was hit by a pitch, moves it to second base. Tony Sept, one of 3 left-handers in A.J. Hinch's bullpen, getting loose.
An ex-teammate of mine, Alex Rios, lives in Puerto Rico now, and I reached out to him after Maria went through, and he texted me back and kind of gave the same thing that JP just reported. There's no power. Talking to Alex Core today, he said they're running low on ice,
Copy.
they're running low on water, they're running low on a
Yes, thank you so much.
bunch of the essentials. So it's tough. It's a tough situation because as an island, you're isolated, so you have to get things there and you have to bring them in. So they're doing everything they can, but what a great gesture by Carlos Beltran to give $1 million out of his own pocket. That's just an incredible, something you can never ask somebody for, but for him to do it out of the goodness of his heart, he deserves a lot of recognition for that.
He means so much to the people of Puerto Rico, so influential with academies there. One of the great hitters to ever come out of Puerto Rico.
That's saying something because they've had a lot of good ones.
First pitch, strike to Valbuena. Now, Brent Strom, the pitching coach for the Astros, has had a pretty uneventful afternoon until recent innings. Finally having to come out and pay Morton a visit. After Morton was just carving through this Angels lineup. He faced the minimum over the first 5 innings. Now Joe Musgrove warming up as well.
He was cruising, and then the last couple innings he's hit a couple of stumbling blocks, got out of the last inning. But now the home run, hit by pitch, and a walk. It's how you get into jams, and Strom had to come out and try to calm him down. But I believe Sept is up in case they pinch hit for Crone or for Perez, the catcher, with one of their lefties, and then you have the righty up just in case this inning continues, just to try to get him out of the inning. So double barrel action out of nowhere for the Astros, and there's reasons behind it.
You can see pitch count by inning: the 6th, the stumbling block, the 7th approaching that pitch count as well. Correa thinking maybe he got it down in time on Pujols.
Pujols was mad before when they nicked his jersey. Now he's really mad because he's like, I am not going anywhere. What the heck are you doing trying to pick me off? And he's more surprised than anybody.
Swing and a miss. There's the curveball, shows up again for Morton. Two outs in the 7th.
Just a big out, big curveball in a big situation. Got him out with all curveballs. Look how far that ball is outside, and it breaks into the inner part of the plate. And for people that want an electronic strike zone, that will be the hardest pitch for an electronic strike zone to get right, because it crosses the plate, maybe outside the plate, but where it ends up is a strike, or the low curveball ends up on the ground.
Crone lines this into left field. Out of the warning track, Tony Kemp is there. A hard out, number 3. Justin Upton putting the Angels on the board for the first time, beginning the 7th. His 33rd home run of the season. No doubt about it. Off the windows here inside Minute Maid Park. Well, time now for deeper coverage, brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. With the AL wild card on ESPN on October 4th, with the National League wild card on TBS. Then October 5th, the American League Division Series begins on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. On the bottom of the 7th, the Astros leading 5-1. A win today for the Astros. They would secure a series win against the Angels after winning in last night's contest. New pitcher up on the mound for Mike Scioscia, Fernando Salas. You can see his numbers this year with the Mets and the Angels. Was an Angel last year, then traded over to New York. Now back with Anaheim. And he starts Bregman off with a strike. Hit ground ball to Simmons. A couple of gold gloves for him. Throws on to first base. Plenty of timeout, number 1.
When you hit a ball to Andrelton Simmons, you just put your head down and start making the right turn back to the dugout, because 99.9% of the time you're going to be out. And playing with him for a full season and getting to appreciate not only his range and his hands and his arm strength, but his anticipation. That's the most intriguing thing and the most impressive thing about Andrelton Simmons. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And when he makes mistakes, it's because he's too aggressive. Instead of being under aggressive and not going after a ball or whatever it is, he's the most aggressive shortstop I've ever played with, and the best tagger I've ever seen. I know people say Javi Baez, but I put my money on Andrelton Simmons.
First pitch strike to Gonzalez. Well, Baez maybe has the flashiest tags, but that doesn't mean that they're the best tags.
He's the best. He got me many a caught stealings by just keeping his tag on there or having tags you think are impossible. getting him down, getting him on the runner. Not perfect throws. He finds a way to get his hands on the ball, and he saves a lot of hits and he saves a lot of errors for catchers.
One and two. And turns Gonzalez into a pretzel.
Just a good pitch by Salas. Coming in on him and down. Anytime you see a hitter falling to his knee, you know you've made a good pitch. The look on Marwin Gonzalez's face is like, ooh, that was nasty.
A couple of base hits in this one for Gonzalez, including a run scored. Lines this corner right field again. Third hit for Marwin Gonzalez. He's digging for his second double. Calhoun's throw cut. And the Astros have just tied a franchise record for most doubles in a season. Two of them coming here today by Marwin Gonzalez.
This is what's frustrating about baseball as a catcher, as a pitcher. The pitch before, you make Marwin Gonzalez look like a fool. And in the next pitch, you make a mistake and throw a high fastball and he whacks it in the corner for a double. Why not try the one you just pitched, the one you just threw to him, the same pitch, and seeing if you can get him look like a fool again. Instead, you throw a fastball, granted it's a mistake, out over the middle of the plate. And Marwin Gonzalez rips in the right field corner for a double.
Now 5 players for the Astros with at least 30 doubles this year. Gonzalez included. I'll tell you what, if the Angels, I'm sure they did not think this, but if they thought for a moment that this JV lineup for the Astros would be easier to handle. No Springer today, no Reddick, no Altuve. This is scorched into left field. Correa, his 4th time aboard, his 3rd hit. Gonzalez pedaling around 3rd. It's now 6-1 Houston. Correa drives in his 3rd run of the game.
Well, you just called him a JV lineup, but Carlos Correa, Evan Gattis, Marwin Gonzalez, Alex Bregman, they've done all the damage, and they're the top 4 of the Astros lineup. So call them whatever you want, but don't call them JV, because these guys can still hit and they're still big league players. So the Angels are finding that out as we go here.
Now each time Correa has had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position, so every time up except for when he was intentionally walked, he has driven in a run.
Have a day, son.
Strike one to Gattis.
Have a day, young man. That's a nice day.
Correa, who turned 23 yesterday. Look at his numbers since making his debut, where he ranks among his peers at the position.
So you're saying he's a pretty good hitting shortstop there, first in everything?
Check swing, makes its way out to Phillips. Shovel pass to Simmons on to first. In time for the inning-ending double play. But a run does cross for the Astros. Correa picks up his 3rd RBI, 6-1 Houston. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy game day, live game video, highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast, news, and much more. Download MLB.com at Bat today. Whole family coming out for some early day baseball here in Houston. Make our way to the top of the 8th. Left-hander Tony Sept is up on the mound for the Astros in back of Charlie Morton. 7 very strong innings for Morton. First at bat for Perez.
Tremendous job by Charlie Morton. 7 innings, 1 run, just dominating with the 96, 97 mile an hour fastball, mixing a sinker, a little cutter, and then his curveball that no one could touch today.
Perez pops it up. Gonzalez at second base this afternoon for the Astros. Time now for Grip the Moment, sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. All right, AJ, how about you walk us through this one? Let's go back to a very memorable night for you back in '05.
I always have great memories here, but this play by Juan Uribe is one of the greatest catches in World Series history that nobody talks about. 1 out, bottom of the 9th, tying run on second, makes that play, and then he makes this play on a speedy runner out Orlando Palmeiro to win the White Sox first World Series in 88 years here in Houston. But I still always look back to that Juan Uribe catch and say, if he was Derek Jeter or somebody else in a bigger market, that play would be seen all over the place, and it should be. Because what an incredible play, throwing his body into the stands to get the second out of the 9th inning, and then making the play on the last ball to end the infamous shoeless Joe Jackson Black Sox curse in Chicago. Which, by the way, we went longer than the Red Sox. The White Sox did, 88 years compared to 86, and nobody talks about it. Breaking a curse.
Well, that's why we're giving you the airtime right now.
Thank you.
1 ball and 1 strike to Calhoun. No, remarkable catch.
Remarkable, and I always have, every time I come back to Houston, I have great memories of this ballpark. But look at the effort. Full extension into the stands. How come the fans didn't help him? Look, they're trying to rip the ball out of his glove. Nice hustle by the umpire to get there, and what a great teammate and a great guy Juan Uribe was. Ask anybody that played with Juan Uribe and they'll tell you he's one of their favorite people on the planet, just because of his smile, his energy, and what he brought to a team every day.
Calhoun leading off for Mike Scioscia for the 2nd straight game, looking for his first hit this afternoon. Flew out to the warning track in right field on a broken bat his last time up. On the appeal, he does not go 2-2. Time running out today, time running out this season for the Angels. After this afternoon, tied with the Rangers, 3.5 games outside of the 2nd wild card held by the Twins.
Well, if they don't find a way to come back and win this game, no matter what happens with the Twins game, it's tough. It's going to be tough.
Into the shift, quick bounce to Gonzalez. Looking like an everyday second baseman. Your points from earlier, your Lincoln keys to the game.
Well, the get bats going. It hasn't worked for the Angels. 4 hits, 0 for 5, runners in scoring position, 1 home run, long home run by Justin Upton, and Charlie Morton did what he's done all year, and that's pump it up. 7 innings, a lot of ground balls, and strikeouts on the curveball.
Now Sept gets the 2 men he's tasked to face. Joe Musgrove coming on to face Mike Trout. Fantastic working in relief this year. He's on here with 2 outs to face Mike Trout.
You want to see how to pitch Mike Trout? Here it is. You have to pitch him up in the strike zone, right here. Top quadrant, top third, whatever it is, the 083, 231, 167. Trout is a dead low ball hitter, and every team tries to pitch him up. And he gets frustrated sometimes, and he swings at it for no reason other than he sees it so much, and he wants to prove to him he can hit it. And what does he do? He swings and misses, or he pops it up. So watch for Musgrove here to try to go up and climb the ladder on him.
Last time up for Trout.
Watch how Charlie Morton does it. Sinker in, ball 1. Sinker in, 1-1. Another ball in. Yet another ball in. Mike Trout doesn't agree. Breaking ball to guess what? Set up a fastball up and in for strike 3. So textbook pitching by Charlie Morton there. You saw Evan Gattis with his glove up. Usually you see the catcher try to give a low target. But when Mike Trout's hitting, you want to actually give a high target. See how high that target is from Evan Gattis? And that's belt high over the inner part of the plate. Most hitters want to hit that pitch, but Mike Trout, because of his swing path, has a hard time with that pitch.
It's a very almost left-handed swing out of a righty, isn't it?
And it's because of where he holds his hands and the way he goes to get the ball. His hands are so high that in order for he has a long way to go to get to that ball high, whereas he can just drop them down and get to the low pitch.
The 2-2. He stays alive.
And Musgrove tried to go into that hole that we talked about up and in. Gattis had his glove up for the high target, but he missed out over the plate. So Trout was able to get a piece of it. But Gattis wants this ball in over the plate. That's just a miss. That's a miss by the pitcher, and he got away with the mistake. So big league hitters don't always hit your mistakes, but if you keep making them, eventually they will. Now he's going slider away.
Runs the count full.
So last time I said, hey, they're not going to challenge Trout. This time I'm thinking they're challenging Trout. 5-run lead, nobody on base, 2 outs. Why not? If he hits a home run, it's 6-2, and we'll take it.
The payoff to Trout.
And that was challenging him. Fastball 96 out over the plate. And if you're Mike Trout, in your head, you're going, all right, is he going to challenge me again, or is he going to go with that slider away? So sinker in here for Musgrove.
Strike 3 call. Consecutive at-bats. Trout gets rung up looking. Zion retired in order. We go to the bottom of the 8th. thousands of items. Target, run, and done. And by BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. How good was Charlie Morton today?
Everything the Astros expected out of Charlie Morton today, they got. High velocity, fastballs up. Weak contact, weak ground balls back to him. Got a lot of ground balls just back to him. And then when he needed it, Uncle Charlie was there, the hook. Getting strikeouts with high velocity and curveballs. And Charlie Morton's game this entire year, and the results have shown exactly that.
Our Budweiser game summary. If you define 4 runs as a big inning, there's no team in baseball with more big innings than the Astros. Upton has accounted for a very lonely run for the Angels so far, his 33rd home run of the season. Norris, part of a bullpen day, pitching into the 4th for Mike Scioscia. And a new pitcher up on the mound, Deolis Guerra. Guerra did not pitch in the last homestand for the Angels. He spent some time this year in AAA. Facing Gurriel to begin the bottom of the 8th.
The Angels knew it was going to be a bullpen day, and Bud Norris gave them a lot. 3 1/3 innings, so they can't complain about his work. It's been the guys after him that have had a hard time, but they knew it was going to go this way. They were hoping that they'd keep him down and score some runs, but that hasn't happened.
Gurriel, a 3-run homer in last night's game. This year set the Astros rookie record for extra base hits.
It's been a nice find for the Astros and A.J. Hinch. The guy that normally hits down in the order, but he still hits 20 home runs, hits 30 doubles. Asked A.J. how he dealt with that after being a star in Cuba for so many years. He said he totally understood, and he said he could hide at the bottom of the order, which is good. You can hide a little bit. They don't focus as much on you when you're hitting 7th or 8th than you do when you're hitting 3, 4, 5.
Will Harris, an all-star from a year ago, getting loose inside the Astros bullpen. Leadoff man aboard for Tyler White. White a mile high. Defining a big league pop-up. Simmons puts it away out number 1. One out, 1 on for Derek Fisher. And you think about the painful rebuild for the Astros. We mentioned earlier the 100 loss season 4 years ago. Astros coming into the American League back in 2013. And it's funny to think about it now, but the sentiment, especially in the American League West, was this sense of being overjoyed that the Astros were coming to the American League. It would seem like there's some easy wins each and every year, especially for teams in the division.
Well, I was on the Rangers that year, and I think we went 17-2 against them. So yeah, we picked up a lot of games against that Astros team. And from where they were 4 years ago to where they are now, and what was it? Sports Illustrated had the cover 2017 World Series champs. So we'll see if they're able to live up to that kind of cover jinx or whatever you want to call it. But so far they've looked pretty good.
George Springer on the cover.
Amazing how you can transform an organization if you go all in on a rebuild quickly.
3 pitches get Fisher. Now there it is. A clean shaven George Springer, who today gets the day off.
Forget that. What about those uniforms?
Well, yes.
Those uniforms, they should bring those back, please.
Springer, the very dynamic leadoff hitter on most days for the Astros. Now you can see what we're talking about, clean shaven. And the mullet mohawk that George wears so well.
At least he can pull that off. That makes one of us. If I had that, oh.
This will be Cameron Maybin's first year in the postseason. Beginning of the year with the Angels. Former first-round draft pick. There we go.
There it is. rainbow. What do you call those?
Yes.
Launch uniforms, rainbow uniforms. Said something about it was like a launching of a rocket. That's why they had the colors like that.
Very creative interpretation. Simmons patrols into shallow left center field. A man is left as we complete 8. Angels are down to their final 3 outs. Looks to derail number 8 Michigan, then at 8 Eastern Notre Dame and Michigan State resume their classic rivalry in East Lansing. College football on Fox, where every game is everything. A couple of good ones coming your way after this one is over. Top of the 9th inning. Well, Harris up on the mound now. Harris just his 9th appearance over roughly the last month and a half. A lot of time with the DL, shoulder inflammation.
Will Harris, another in the long line of relievers throwing cutters and curveballs. Become the in vogue thing to do these days is throw cutters and curveballs.
Do you have an idea why?
Yeah, because it gets people out and it's hard to hit. That's why.
Well, what took everybody so long to catch on then?
I don't know. Mariano started the cutter craze, and then you figure you throw a cutter, you can throw a curveball right off of it. So. I always say whoever's the first guy to throw a cutter, I want him to come back from the grave, and I want to punch him in the face because he broke a lot of my bats and cost me a lot of outs because I couldn't not swing at it.
Helped take Harris to the All-Star game last year. 2-2 on Upton. Harris spent some time as the Astros closer a season ago. This is scorched out towards left center field. Upton hits it off the wall. This is over the screen, over the line for a home run. It is the 2nd of the game for Upton, who continues to tack on to his career best home run season. He's up to 34 now. He's homered in back-to-back at-bats.
Justin Upton came to play today. 2 home runs accounting for all the Angels' runs. And this is just a laser beam. Cutter out over the plate. The only question was, is it going to be high enough to get out of here? And it just gets over the yellow line.
Strike one of Pujols. Now, we mentioned this earlier. He has an opt-out in his contract at the end of this season. And he is having some kind of year. 4th most extra base hits in the American League. He's added 2 more today.
That's tough as a player. You see, he wants to smile, but you're also losing 6-2 in what you know is a huge game for your team. So as happy as you are inside, you have to kind of project a little bit of anger on your face because your team is losing.
One-two to Pujols. Check swing. They appeal. He goes. Albert disagreeing a little bit.
Did he go? Usually you go by the bat crossing home plate and the umpires see that little gleam of the bat, but I was always told if you use a black bat, the umpires can't see that, so that's why I always hit with the black bat. Maybe that's why Albert Pujols is also using a black bat, but didn't work for him right there.
MLB.TV every night, every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Here's another black bat. Brandon Phillips.
Way to steal check swings. Whenever I get rung up on a check swing, I'd be like, but I'm using a black bat, dude. You can't see it.
Yeah, but you couldn't hear your bat either, so.
It's true. But also, I was told when I was coming up through the minor leagues, like, use a black bat because they were harder to get. So you felt like if you saw a guy using a black bat,
you're somebody.
You were somebody, exactly.
0-2 on Brandon Phillips. The 0-2. 3/4 swing. Gaddis will finish off the strikeout. Angels down to their final out. And we go back to our Gatorade. Every ounce counts. Last time up for Mike Trout.
Evan Gaddis calls a fastball in here. 3-2 to Mike Trout. You see the sign? Index finger pointing to Trout. Pointer finger right there. Fastball. He takes it. Not happy with the call. Now that sets up his next at bat. 3-2. Evan Gaddis. What does he do? Cutter. Front door cutter. Starts out at Mike Trout. Breaks back over the plate. Nothing you can do as a hitter. See it as out of the hand as a ball. Breaks back over. Tip your cap.
First pitch in play, and this will do it. 4th time in franchise history the Astros have reached 95 wins. Angels meanwhile fading. They've lost 6 in a row. Astros improved to 36 games over 500, their highest mark since 1998. Pretty solemn Angels dugout. The updated standings now just a game behind the Indians. They're in progress in Seattle. Meanwhile, the Angels dropped to 4 games and back to the Twins for the second wild card.
Really nice win for the Astros, but just another devastating loss for the Los Angeles Angels. Got to find a way to hit the last week of the season. Let's go, boys.
Charlie Morton was spectacular today for A.J. Hinch. Carlos Correa drives in 3 as the Astros roll. All right, now we'll send things back to Mike Hill inside our Los Angeles studios. Mike, take it away.